Hey guys, Randy here, coming at you with a fidget spinner pile of spinners. This is not exactly a review. This is just, I don't know. I'm beginning to get ready for the reopening of the flea market in Orange, Texas, where I have a little shop. The shop got flooded out during Hurricane Harvey, and they're fixing everything up, rebuilding everything, and should be ready to reopen in I think the flea market is every weekend after the second Monday. That's the way it works, I think. So my shop should be put back together. At least I should have a couple of walls and no water. I guess that's what I'm hoping for. A couple of walls and no water. But it's a flea market that is semi-enclosed. The area I'm in is a small office space with several other vendors, and it is air conditioned and heated, kind of, as opposed to the rest of the building, which is unair conditioned and unheated. So it is a fun place. There's a lot of great people there, a lot of great vendors, and I'm hoping to grow with it as it gets bigger. Anyway, I had actually been there twice, I think 2 times before, and getting used to the place and seeing how I wanted to set things up. Then Hurricane Harvey hit, and I had like a month off. So in about 2.5 weeks, they're going to be open again for their trade days, Orange Trade Days in Orange, Texas. And so I started digging through my spinners to see what kind of inventory I had and what I wanted to take, what I didn't want to take. So I started getting kind of nostalgic and found all this stuff here. None of these were really ever put out for sale. These were, I guess you'd call them my originals, my testers, my not prototypes, but samples. I guess you call it samples. These are all the spinners I bought way back in the day. And when I say way back in the day, I mean December, January, February. December 2016, January, February, and maybe March of 2017. That's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to say. So these were all pretty much one of a kinds, or at least I only had one copy of each. So I did not want to get rid of these. I wanted to kind of like have a history, a timeline, and as far as fidget spinners goes, it seems like they've been around forever, but they've really only been around for about 10 to 11 months as far as the fidget spinner craze. So I just wanted to show you a couple of these, and I'm going to turn my camera around so I can focus better on these and let you see a much better view of each one. So here we go. I just want to give you a good view of everything. I mean, all these were all spinners that I bought to see what they were like, what they would do. Here's one of the little LED spinners that have kind of come and gone. This was one of the very first flashing spinners, the LED spinners that came out. I think it's got 3 settings on it. Doesn't spin worth a crap. But yeah, I remember this was one of the very first ones that came out before things like spin time became a priority for people. And a lot of companies just didn't care. They would just send out whatever you would order from them. I think almost all of these came from China, except for this one. This one I actually won in a contest on Spin Space. It was kind of ironic. It was the very first contest I entered on Spin Space, on the Facebook group Spin Space, and this guy was. I think I had to pay $5 for they call it a waffle. Instead of a raffle, it's a waffle, and I think I had to pay $5 for each entry. I think I bought 3 entries, and I won this. And this Warhammer, it is one of those higher end spinners. They don't make this one anymore. I looked up his website a couple times, and they make a variant of the Warhammer, but they don't make this specific style anymore. This is one of those collector's type spinners. It's probably in the $200 to $300 range, maybe a little bit less, maybe $180. I was never able to find a price on it, but just based on his current spinners that I saw, this was probably about a $200 spinner. It is not what you would call a spinner designed for spinning enthusiasts. It's more like a spinner for someone who likes unique designs. This thing, it's because of the design, the bar design, and inherent in all bar designs is a wobble, a judder. It's just the way the balance, the way the engineering design of it, because of the way the weight is spread out. So it's going to have some judder to it. All bar designed, or torque bar, two-lobed spinner designs are going to have some judder in them. Some have more, some have less. But from what I've read, they all have some judder in them. So I just thought that was kind of neat. Look at the texturing on this thing. This one I'm pretty sure was CNC milled or hand milled, but there was one of the limited designs that the guy made a certain number and then didn't make any more. And here's the base for it. This is an aluminum base. It's a solid piece of aluminum, and I think I like it a whole lot. You can see at least I can see the milling marks in there. Only bad thing was I think there's a scratch on it. I wish it didn't have that scratch, but like the back has scratches on it. But that's just normal wear and tear, just my own pickiness. Let me set him off here to the side. Show you a different one. Here's a Stars brand fidget spinner. And I had intended to actually sell these, but like a lot of other things, turns out that the supplier of these was ripping me off. They were selling me these to me. And about a month after I paid for them, they finally came in, and turns out they were already selling them on eBay. The same company was selling them on eBay for the same price they sold me the handful of spinners I bought. I bought them in, I think, black, and I got them in red, and I got them in. This blue one was kind of unusual because the blue one doesn't have these little acrylic inserts in it. It's just it has these steel inserts, which I thought was kind of dumb. It's like, why did you sell me these with acrylic inserts, and then you got the blue with just steel, and would not offer the steel with the acrylic, because the acrylic is really pretty. They all were unique designs, and I think I had one other color, but I don't see it. Anyway, these are the three. I thought these were a really cool looking design. I don't know if this is an original design or if this is a knockoff, a clone of somebody else's designs. Anyway, I know that you can still get these on Amazon, I believe. And the price has actually gone down to below what I paid for these. So let me set these over here to the side. And let's see, what else is next? We just got some basic tri-spinners that I purchased to see what was what colors I liked, what colors my neighborhood kids liked, to see if how well they would sell. I was actually the first person in my town to start showing these to people and trying to I guess I was trying to start a business selling spinners. It just didn't work out in Vider. Just didn't have the business acumen, didn't have the network of people to help me out, to show me the ropes of running a small business like that. So I'm still learning, still working on it. See this black one here, and you see that on the back side the little shields, these little black shields. This was one of the cheaper ones, I guess, because the shields are missing. It must have fell out. And I'm not sure whether I greased this one or not, but man, you can't even feel this one spinning. It's so smooth. You can't even feel it spinning. It's like I'm holding the spinner while it's holding still. It's like there's nothing there. Let's see what kind of bearings does it have. I can't see the bearings. Of course, got shields. Oh, there you go. This one's got steel bearings. That's amazing for a 608 with steel bearings. But I can feel oil on the surface, so I must have sprayed this with some type of lube in the past. And here's one of my favorites, just because it's black on black. I like black, the black body with the black shields, and they're all flat black. It's not glossy black, and it's kind of noisy. Because of the noise, I'm thinking maybe it's a hybrid ceramic, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong so many times that I hate to make a call like that, but for some reason I keep saying my guess, what I'm guessing at. Oh, it's white hybrid ceramics. So the white hybrid ceramics, I believe, are actually becoming pretty hard to find because people like the black hybrid ceramic better. And I don't know if there's really a difference. I tried researching it a while back, and basically all I ever found out about the difference between the two was that the black ones were white ones that were coated with some type of chemical or some type of chemical coating that turned them black. Anyway, and I actually saw an article on how to make your white ceramic bearings black. Here is one of the very first clones of a torque bar that came out. I remember getting these back probably in January of this year. This one's brass, I think. It's hard to tell. I don't know. Oh yeah, it is brass. But look at that. This is a copper version of the TIE Fighter. That's brass. This was the very first torque bar style spinner I ever got. And these little suckers, they spin for a while. They probably spin for 4 to 5 minutes. And this one, I believe, has stainless steel bearings in it, or at least steel bearings in it. Yeah, it's kind of fun digging through all these old spinners to see what I have out there. I don't know if you guys can see that. It looks like the bearings have a bearing guide, so most likely because it is so old, it has steel bearings. This one came out long before people got the notion to start trying different kinds of bearings in their spinners and demanding longer spin times. At first, people just wanted it to spin. They just like to flick it. And I can see why this one's kind of the favorite. It's small, compact, very easy to flick. It's got the right engineering so that on the side here, when you flick it, your finger has kind of a friction, a gripping power so that you can spin it. Can't really spin it fast because it is pretty heavy, so it takes some inertia to get it going. And the edges are nice and smooth. They're rounded over a little bit. And I was noticing, I was looking up today trying to figure out what's the difference between chamfering and rounding, and there's another one where they cut it at an angle, but chamfering, they actually cut it at an angle, or it's kind of rounded, but it's not the same as having a true curve like this. It's almost like an angle slice, but at the very top they round it over. Anyway, it's hard to describe by just saying that without actually showing a picture. So here's my original, or my first copper TIE Fighter. When I saw these little designs, I didn't know it was called a TIE Fighter at the time. I just saw it and I go, wow, that's different. Everybody else is going crazy over this style. No one has this style in my neighborhood, so I figured, yeah, I'd like to have one of these. I liked it right off the bat, except for the part where you got to keep polished. Did not like having to polish these things. I want it to just stay shiny all the time. It's a really beautiful copper color once it's polished up. But there are people out there who like the patina and the aged look to their spinners. If you can get one that turns green, those look really cool. It's almost like a piece of turquoise or something, or a green turquoise. A piece of turquoise that turned green. That's what I mean. So this one has steel bearings as well. They pretty much all these original, these very first ones here that I bought back in January, February, these were all with steel bearings because they just didn't offer hybrid ceramic bearings or full ceramic bearings at the time. You'd have to buy them separately and put them in yourself, and I didn't think to do that. I hadn't really gotten into the spinner communities yet on Facebook and saw and heard what people were doing with them, how they were fixing them up. Here's another one one of these oddball ones that I tried out. You can see it. I did a review on it a while back when I first got it, but this little thing, this is one of those failed designs in my opinion, because these little balls right here, these actually had LEDs in them, and I don't know if I can, and they pop out so that you can take them apart and replace the batteries. And whatever genius, if I can get it to open up, show you the insides. Come on now. Come on, open up. I forgot how to open it. I think it just prizes apart, but I can't get it to prize apart. There we go. Finally got it. This little pressure is what needed to pop it open. But basically, you can see it down in there. There's the little LED light. And there is the battery on the back. You gotta slide the two batteries. Now it takes two. And these batteries, if you buy them at my local stores, are about $3, $2 a piece. And the genius designer who made these things made it so that it had a little piece of paper between the battery and the contact behind the LED. You pull the paper out, LED turns on, and never turns off. Genius! So you have to actually take this thing apart and take the batteries out every single time you want to turn off all 3 of these LEDs. And I wrote back to the company after they wrote me and said, hey, how about buying some more of these? And I said, you're out of your freaking mind. Why did you send me LEDs that would not turn off with a switch? And he's like, well, this is version 1. Well, you knew what you were sending me. You knew you were sending me these crap spinners that would not turn off. And, oh, well, we like, okay, well, I'm not buying these no more from you. And then later on, let's see, where did that black one go? Within a few weeks, they came out with the other version, and I can't believe oh, there it is. They came out with another version. This is not the version that the second version I bought, but basically they came out they quickly came out with ones that had the on-off switch built into them, but they dumped the ones that do not turn off on me, as many as they could on me anyway. Here's another one of the very first ones I discovered. I was looking for a pink spinner because I was trying to find all the different colors, and I thought maybe there was a market for girls who like spinners, and I thought, well, hey, pink would be a great one. And I ran across this one on eBay. I don't have a pink one out here, but turns out this is a 3D printed spinner made by a little boy in Arizona, and he may or may not still sell these on eBay. I've forgotten. I haven't checked his eBay listing for a long time, but he makes these. He did make these in about 13 different colors, 14 different colors, and including pink. So I ordered a pink one from him, and did a review on it a while back. It's somewhere in one of my first 100 reviews. But this is one of my very few made in USA spinners. And what I liked about it was he sends the caps separate from the body of the spinner, so that you can pick out your colors if you want to for the caps that you would like to match the body of your spinner. So the caps come in the same number of colors as the bodies, and at the time you could tell him what color caps you wanted along with what color spinner, and there you go, custom spinner. Here's one of the other ones. This is the newer one. I found these just a few months ago. I was looking for spinners that were made for smaller hands, and I found these in white, blue, and red. I believe these are a little bit smaller compared to a regular size spinner. There you go. So at the time when I first started hunting for these, little boys and little girls, like 7 years old, 6 years old, they wanted spinners, but they were so big that the spinner would hit right there on the skin between their fingers when they tried to spin. So they were I saw one little girl who tried to hold it like that, so she was successfully able to hold it on the very edge like that. And I thought it was so cute that the way she was spinning it, she was making it work, buddy. She was working that thing. Wasn't going to keep her from her spinner. But later on I found these, and they caught on like wildfire. Kids were asking me for them like crazy. I only had a few of them though, but they were very hard to find. And let's see, what else we got here? This is the very first spinner that I saw that was not a tri-spinner in a grocery store in Vidor. And this is literally right after the stores started getting these spinners, and I bought this one just because it was so unusual. I thought it was kind of neat. It looks like it's made for stacking. It looks like the way the little cap is made right there with a ridge on it, and you got the cap, which is made to sit on top of that cap. So you could actually buy a couple of these and keep stacking them up like that. See how it fits on there, and show you the bearings inside there. I don't know. I can't tell if that's an R188 bearing or not. But anyway, it is not the best spinner in the world. It doesn't weigh very much, so it's not going to spin very long. It needs some weights in the outer arm to really spin for a long time. These bearings in here do not turn. They don't weigh much of anything, so it's not a long spinning spinner. Although I probably need to take this out in the sunlight and see what kind of warping action it's going to have. It's going to have Probably because of the design, it's going to be pretty wild. Oh, let me throw in a couple other ones here that were off camera. This is another 3D printed spinner. This was one of the very first ones that was offered for sale in the different Facebook groups. I saw a guy, literally this was one of the first ones back in February, March of this year. He offered this 3D skull printed spinner. It's a little bit off balance. I did a review on this one as well. It's somewhere back there in my very first reviews. It's a very lightweight spinner, so it's not going to spin very long. But if you like cool looking skulls, I think this almost looks like the Punisher. Almost, not quite. But I do like the black and white look to it. It's very easy to flick, although my finger doesn't get very good purchase along here. But it's good enough for what it is. It's not going to spin for a long time, no matter how hard you spin it. But it's not one of the very first ones that came out. I can't recall if he glued the caps on here or not. He probably didn't, but I remember trying to take the caps off, and I felt like I was going to break them trying to take them out. But I thought this was a very cool spinner. And I think he has an Etsy shop where he sells these, and he also may sell them on eBay. Most likely I got this off eBay, but I have not checked this shop for a long time, so I don't know if he still sells this one or not. That's why I kind of put it to the side and kind of want to keep it for my historical collection. And this one, I got this one off eBay as well. This is made from aircraft aluminum. A guy who has an aircraft repair shop at an airport makes these. So I'm sure he makes these out of the extra pieces of aircraft aluminum he has left over laying around in his shop. So he does mill these himself one at a time. I don't know much more about it than that. Yeah, I bought this off eBay, probably for like 20-25 bucks. I just thought it was really, really nice how shiny and bright this thing was. I need to polish it up again because it is aluminum, so it does oxidize a bit. And it's shiny now, but I need to put some Never Dull on it. Let's see if I can get the caps. These feel like they unscrew, so there we go. This looks like not a 608, maybe I don't know. I'm guessing it's a 609 maybe. It's got a looks like a steel guide in there to hold the bearings in place. And this is another one that's very, very lightweight since it's aluminum, so it's not going to spin very long. Probably a minute or so, less than a minute, I'd be willing to bet. I'm sure that in my old video I timed it. Back then I was timing everything till I got to the point where I didn't think time was that big of a deal, because spinners are made for flicking, playing with. It's great to say your spinner spins for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, but really, how often do you sit there and watch it spin for 8 minutes? I mean, my attention span is like 30, 40 seconds, and I'm ready to stop it and play with it. And I like doing this. I like flicking back and forth. I like spinning it on top. I like to see how hard I can spin it, how fast I can make it spin, not how long. I've kind of got beyond the spinning time, but it is nice to have a spinner that spins for at least a couple of minutes, just in case you want to just hold it and stare at it, and especially doing warping videos. Having one that'll spin for at least 2 minutes makes for a good warping video, in my opinion. Let's see if there's anything else on here. I don't know, did I show you this one already? I'm not certain. This is another one of those in-between sizes I was looking for. This one really surprised me. This one was one of the more expensive ones, where I think these cost a couple of dollars a piece. This one was like $7 or $8, so it was really surprising. But then when I got it, I was even more surprised because it spun so long. Little bitty spinner, spins for a long, long time. And if I remember correctly, this one actually has hybrid ceramic bearings in it. That's why it spins so long. Either that or it has really good steel bearings in it. If I can pull the cap off and show you the bearings. I know the cap does come off. Come on out. There we go. Cap comes off. Nope, this one has steel bearings in it. I'm surprised, because I had another one just like this that I bought later on that had hybrid ceramic in it. So this looks like a 608 or a 609, but this one does spin for a long time. It spins very smoothly and very nice. One little drawback to these is because the frame is so thin right there around the bearing. I've had a few that arrived cracked. So they came cracked, so the bearing, even though they would spin, the bearing would slide back and forth a bit, and all of a sudden the cap would be rubbing on the frame and I have to slide it back. So yeah, check it out. I wish it came in other colors besides baby blue, but I could only get this one in baby blue. Here's another one. This one is an aluminum torque bar. You can see how much bigger it is compared to the original clone of the torque bar I had. Big monster. Aluminum, noisy, juddery. Because it is so lightweight, I'm just not a really big fan of the aluminum one. They're nice looking, but I prefer a heavier spinner myself. So you can put that down there. And here's another torque bar compared to this one. It's a little bit bigger. It's another clone. And if they've got a skull and crossbones on there, I think. Yep, skull and crossbones. And this one it's heavy. It is heavy compared to this one. And let's see how well it spins. I haven't spun this one in a long, long time. It does have a lot of judder to it. I mean, just the slightest turn, and I can feel it juddering. Even holding it vertically, it has a lot of feedback from the bearings spinning inside there. But it is very, very quiet. Very quiet spinner. And let's see. Kind of wish I hadn't given away some of these I reviewed, because they were the only one of each style that I had. But I had given away a few that were my only ones of each one, and did not plan on getting them again. Now I'm kind of regretting it. Anyway, but I'm glad somebody got them who was happy with them. See, now this one does not have a cap that is removable on this one, where the little indentation where you put the cap remover in there, the little tool that breaks it loose. So these are pressed in. So this is it's a nice spinner, but you can't change the bearings out. I really don't know if that's I used to think it was a sign that the spinner was not of good quality, because you couldn't take the cap off. But I have found some spinners that spin really nice that you can't take the bearing out of them. So it really comes down to who manufactures it and their quality control standards. See if I can get this one put back in there, and let's see if I got anything else, anything oddball to show you. Anything weird. Let me go back over here to one that's kind of buried over here. Let's pull this one out. Show you this one. This is one of those inexpensive ones that I bought off eBay for, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks, that kind of price range. It's a heavier spinner, and because it is a rainbow spinner, it's not one of my favorites. I keep saying over and over again, my favorite thing is stainless steel, shiny stainless. But there are a lot of people who like the rainbow spinners. I cannot fault them for that. Everybody has their own taste, so more power to you if you like rainbow spinners. This one, surprisingly, it does not have much of any judder. I mean, there's always a little bit of judder. But for being a clone, a Chinese knockoff, I'm surprised how little judder there is in it. And let's see about the bearings. I do like these unscrew caps, caps that unscrew, as opposed to the kind that press on, because sometimes it can be a bugger to get those things out of there. And this looks like yep, it is a pressed-in bearing. And you can see it's got the little steel bearing guide in there. So I can't tell what type of bearings are in there, but most likely they're steel. Just depending on who's selling these, who's manufacturing them, they decide whether or not they're going to cut corners on the manufacturing process and put in cheaper bearings or more expensive bearings. And I think I put these on backwards. The way it feels. See how this cap is kind of standing off just a little bit? I think the caps are meant for one side only. See if I can pop that back out. See if it slides up closer. Let's find out. Before I shoot my mouth off and say something wrong again, as I'm prone to do, I keep wanting to say, oh yeah, this is the way it works, and then it doesn't work that way. get the caps on there properly, see if it goes back to spinning right. Yep, they are. The caps are designed to fit on one side only. Let's see, what else I got here? I got this older one right here. This one was actually painted gold at one time. Looks like the paint's coming off of it a little bit. This was kind of an experiment. This one had pressed on caps, plastic caps that snapped on play. And somehow or another I wound up with a couple of copper caps and was just experimenting to see how they fit, if I liked metal caps better. And of course I do like metal caps better. I like the caps that I know are not going to come off. And you can hear it kind of loud. But everybody I showed this one to, they really liked the gold shiny color. But I was careful to warn them that it was paint. It was going to rub off eventually. So they were forewarned if they ever got any of these. And let's see what else. I think I've got everything pretty much covered here. I don't see any other things. I got this one off here on the side. This is a clone of one of the most expensive spinners I ever saw. It's a clone of one. It's called a Bathgate, I believe. A Bathgate. Bathgate is the name of the spinner. Not Bathgate, I believe. But this artist who makes these spinners, they are truly works of art. He has several different Fidget toys in addition to the spinners. And this is a Bathgate beetle in Egypt. Egyptian scarab beetle. It's very hard to see, at least it was for me to distinguish it, but there's a leg going that way, a leg going that way, and the legs going this way. The original Bathgate, I believe, was made up of 3 pieces. You had this top piece, the bottom piece, and you had a brass piece in the center. I remember seeing this when it was first advertised for sale. He put it up for sale before he even made them. I think the price was right at $900 for a pre-launch price, and he sold out. I think he only made about 100 of these. And I was thinking, wow, $800, $900 for a spinner. That's pretty incredible. But for me, when I got it, I looked at it and go, wow, that looks like a crab face to me. The crab eyes and the little crab nose. Let's see if I can get the caps to break loose. Yep. Nope, this one is not going to break loose. I know that there are a bunch of different companies that knocked off that design, but I believe the artist was the kind of person who he makes a model, he makes a certain number of his designs and of a design like this, and that's all he's ever going to make. So I'm happy for the people who can afford to have a piece of artwork like this, and can afford to have a piece of art like that. But it's also kind of nice to be able to find a clone that lets you have that look. It's not the original, but not everybody can afford a $900 spinner. So it's nice to have clones, even though that if you're a purist, you hate clones. At least most of the purists I've run across hate anything to do with clones. They like the originals, and that's true. It's nice to have the originals, but sometimes you just can't afford them. So that is kind of like the case for the clones. I really wish the clones didn't exist, because or at least that the artist got some remuneration for the clones that were put out. But that's a different story for another time, I guess. Let's see, I think that's it. Here's a white one. The caps on this one are fitting pretty loose, but let me show you that this one is hybrid ceramic white. I always loved the buttery smooth feel of the hybrid ceramics. The only drawback in most cases, if I can remember correctly, was that most of my hybrid ceramics were a little bit noisy. You can hear that, but it's got a whooshing sound to it. So yeah, that's kind of my story so far, were the spinners I have bought over the past 11 months, 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, something like that. Yeah, 10 months, I believe. It's fixing to be 11. As soon as October rolls around, and kind of give you a showcase of everything in a pile, and the the king of spinners, the Warhammer. I call this is like the Conan of fidget spinners. Like I will crush you like bugs. This is a spinner for Thor. Thor's Warhammer. Yep. There you go. So I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory road for me. I enjoyed looking at all these spinners and trying them out and just showing them off to my friends to let them play with them and see what they liked. Let me know what they didn't like, do like about them. And I hope you enjoyed this. And I'll talk to you later.